I'm Candis Kloverstrom, and I'm an illustrator of the Word. And this is another video in my series on the holiness of man. Today I'm talking to you about a very important message, and it's all around this sketch right here. In fact, this is one of the illustrations in the series. And it's all about this pot. Now, the significance of this I discovered about 3 years ago when my husband and I went on this trip to Israel. And what a trip! It was the trip of a lifetime. But in that trip we saw these pots. Now, as you know, the Bible used to be on scrolls. And they would take these scrolls and they would roll them up and they would put them in pots, just like this one that you see right here. Well, the significance of that is that the Lord says that we are earthen vessels. In fact, He made us out of dirt. And when we receive Jesus, we have that word, that word is in us. So this is symbolic. The pot is symbolic of who we are. We are those pots. But you see, here's the problem. That everybody makes mistakes. But God is a holy God, and He expects that His people are going to be holy. And you may wonder, holiness, what exactly is holiness? You may look at somebody with a collar, that they're holy. That's a holy man. Or somebody that has their head shaved and they're out meditating in the desert. That's holiness. Well, that's not what God thinks. You see, in fact, He calls us a holy priesthood, a holy nation. God's people for Him. And He says, I am holy and you also must be holy. Well, when we receive Jesus, we do come into that holiness. In fact, we're grafted in. We are part of His body. But God doesn't stop there. You see, God is also mercy. Besides being judgment, He's also mercy. He's mercy, He's love, joy, peace, kindness. I mean, that is who He is. But because we are broken, we don't always have those things in our lives. And oftentimes, relationships can be broken. But this is my good news to you today. And that God is in the restoration business. Just as He's putting the pieces back together in this pot, He's putting the pieces back together in our lives. But that does not mean we don't have responsibility, because we do. We are to cooperate with Him. Well, we first cooperate with Him by receiving Jesus, but then it doesn't stop there. He goes from glory to glory to glory, and He takes us from one level to another, restoring our lives. Now, what that restoration would be for you, I don't know. There are no guarantees in this world. But I can tell you, after walking with God for over 30 years, that He may not always do what I want, but in the end, it's always really good. Because He takes the bad in our lives and He turns it around, and He turns it into good. And so this is my good news to you today, is that God is in the restoration business. I know He has done a lot of restoration in my life, and if He can do this for me, He can do that for you too. But you have to cooperate with Him. And it starts with Jesus, but then He doesn't stop there. God is in the restoration business.